We live in a world of constant motion, a world where we are taught to rush, to push forward, to let go and move on. But sometimes in the middle of all this motion we forget to listen. We forget that within the quiet moments of stillness, the universe speaks to us. Not with loud voices or bold actions, but with whispers and subtle signs. When it comes to relationships, it can be all too easy to think that moving on is the only way forward, that perhaps it's time to leave, to break away, to step into something new. But let us ask ourselves, what if the call to stay is just as strong, if not stronger, than the pull to move on? The first sign might be simple. Perhaps in moments of solitude you find yourself thinking of them not out of obligation, but because there's a deep, unshakable connection that refuses to dissolve. These thoughts linger. They are not fleeting, but rather they are rooted in a sense of meaning that is hard to describe. It's as though something unseen is saying, this bond has not been fully realized yet. Another sign can be a sense of peace when you are near them. Not the kind of peace that comes from complacency, but a deep, resonating peace that tells you that here, in this relationship, there is work to be done, there is growth to be nurtured. The energy between you both feels like it has potential, an energy that draws you both towards transformation, perhaps not yet in its full form, but undeniably present. When the universe aligns, it often leaves a trail of calmness in the chaos. You may also notice that life, in subtle ways, has a tendency to weave you back together. The times you try to move on are met with chance encounters or conversations that bring you back into each other's orbit. These aren't accidents, but rather gentle nudges from a higher force that says, not yet. There is still more here. The next sign might be more visceral. It's the sense of longing, that ache, not because of what is lacking, but because of the potential that has not yet been fully realized. Lastly, the most subtle sign may come in the form of growth. Not just the kind of growth that happens within you individually, but the growth that happens when you are with them. You begin to realize that this relationship, no matter how challenging, is sculpting you in ways that nothing else has. It's as if you are both working in tandem to become the truest versions of yourselves. Not despite each other, but because of each other. Pretty careless, aren't we? You see, life is not just about moving on. It's not just about finding the next thing, the next person, the next chapter. Life is about presence. It's about knowing that in this moment, something profound is unfolding right here, right now. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is to stay, to wait, to trust that what's meant to be will become clear, not in a rush, but in its own time. So, if you're wondering whether it's time to move on from someone, take a moment. And maybe, just maybe, the most important thing is not moving on, but moving deeper into the connection you share. There are moments in life when certain relationships occupy your mind, not out of obligation or fleeting attraction, but because they are deeply woven into your thoughts and experiences. This isn't the kind of thinking that comes from the surface, like when someone is just passing through your life. No, this connection is persistent. like a thread that keeps drawing you back, no matter how much you try to focus on other things. It's not an obsession, but a pull. A quiet knowing that something significant remains unresolved. The thoughts you have about them linger. They're not frantic or scattered. Instead, they come in moments of stillness, when your mind slows down enough to reflect on what truly matters. It might be in the quiet of the morning or late at night, when the noise of the world fades and the depth of the bond starts to emerge. You might wonder why this person keeps coming to mind, why you can't seem to shake the feeling that your connection with them is far from finished. It's almost as if the universe is gently whispering, reminding you that there's still something to be discovered, something that has yet to unfold between you two. These thoughts feel purposeful. They aren't distractions. They are invitations to explore the layers of your relationship further. You might recall moments with them that were profound, even if brief, or you might remember conversations that opened doors to deeper understanding. The memories seem to stay with you, not as regrets, but as markers of something meaningful. It's not about what you've already experienced, but rather what lies ahead. There's a subtle but unmistakable sense that this relationship has not yet reached its full potential. And your mind keeps reminding you of that truth. Even when you try to move forward, these thoughts don't fade. They have a quiet persistence, as if they are anchored in something beyond your immediate control. It's not a sign of weakness or indecision, but an indication of something deeper at work, something that transcends the normal ebb and flow of life. There are relationships that bring a kind of peace, not one born from comfort or complacency, but a deeper, more profound sense of calm that comes from knowing that something significant exists between you and another person. This peace doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't try to manipulate or pressure you into a decision. Instead, it offers a space for growth, an environment where both individuals can evolve and transform together. When you are near them, there is a quiet understanding that something vital is taking place, something that will shape who you are in ways you cannot yet fully comprehend. This peace is not passive, it's dynamic. It is a subtle energy that invites you to step into the relationship fully, not just as a participant, but as someone who is ready to embark on a shared journey of discovery. The bond doesn't feel stagnant, but rather it's infused with the potential for both of you to change, to learn, and to be better versions of yourselves through your connection with each other. When you spend time with this person, the energy between you doesn't feel like an obstacle, but like an open door, one that invites you to enter and explore what lies beyond. It is as though the relationship itself is an active force that pulls you forward, guiding you to a place of deeper understanding and self-awareness. The peace that arises from such a relationship is one that doesn't shy away from challenges. It's not the kind of peace that ignores the difficulties or the struggles, but the kind that embraces them. Even in times of tension, there is an underlying trust that the relationship has the capacity to withstand, to adapt, and to ultimately thrive. The challenges that arise are not seen as reasons to walk away, but as opportunities for growth, individual growth and mutual growth. This shared journey becomes an expression of the life force itself, unfolding naturally, as if the universe itself has conspired to bring you together at the right moment, under the right conditions. When this peace is present, it doesn't feel like an accident. It's as though the relationship is guiding you both towards a place you could not reach on your own, and in this guidance there is a profound trust. A trust that the peace you feel is not just a fleeting moment, but a constant underlying truth of the bond between you. As you navigate life, you may notice that when you try to move away from a particular person, circumstances seem to conspire to bring you back together. These aren't random occurrences, nor are they accidents. They are the subtle, almost imperceptible ways in which the universe gently nudges you to pay attention. You might find yourself encountering this person again in the most unexpected places, in moments when you least expect it. And a familiar face in a crowd, an unexpected call or message, or even a casual encounter in the most mundane of settings, it feels as though life is purposefully aligning to keep your paths intertwined, to keep you connected, even when you thought you had moved on. These encounters are not always dramatic or grandiose. They are quiet, simple, and often appear to be coincidences, but if you pay close attention, you will begin to notice the pattern. It's as though fate is gently reminding you that there is something still unresolved, something that needs to be addressed. It's not about chasing after the person or forcing a situation. Rather, it's about recognizing that the connection between you is not easily broken, no matter how much time or distance you put between you. The way life seems to bring you back together isn't always through direct contact either. Sometimes it's through moments of reflection, when something reminds you of them, an old song, a place you once visited together, a conversation that triggers memories. These small reminders serve as gentle nudges from the universe, reminding you that the bond you share is not something to be dismissed lightly. Even when you think you've let go, life keeps drawing you back to them, as though saying, "Not yet. There's more to be learned here. There's more to be felt." At times, these unexpected reunions might seem inconvenient or disruptive to your plans. You might feel frustrated or confused, wondering why the universe keeps bringing you back to this person when you've already made the decision to move on. But in these moments, it's important to pause and listen, to recognize that perhaps the timing is not yours to dictate. The universe moves in its own rhythm, and sometimes it takes time to unfold the lessons and growth that are meant to occur within this connection. It's a sign that you are being gently pulled back to something that, despite your best efforts to leave behind, is still part of your journey. There are moments when you feel an unmistakable longing that goes beyond the simple desire for companionship. It's not about feeling incomplete or needing someone to fill a void. It's a deeper, more profound yearning that emerges when you're apart from them. This longing is not driven by a sense of emptiness, but by the awareness of something beautiful and meaningful that is yet to come to fruition. It's as if the connection between you and this person is still in the process of unfolding. And there's a part of you that intuitively understands this, even if your logical mind tries to move on. But this feeling doesn't stem from a fear of loss or an attachment to an idealized version of the person. but from a recognition that the bond you share holds potential that you have yet to fully explore. The longing feels more like a call to discover something deeper, something that is still waiting to be experienced, understood, or shared. You might find yourself reflecting on the times you've spent together, recalling the moments that were meaningful, the conversations that sparked something within you, and the shared experiences that created a sense of connection. These memories don't leave you because they carry a weight of significance. The longing isn't about what's missing. It's about the recognition that something rich and important is still unfolding. There may be a sense of anticipation, like you're waiting for a door to open that will lead you both to a deeper understanding of each other. It's the kind of longing that isn't rooted in impatience, but in the trust that the timing will come when the two of you are ready for the next step. This longing keeps you tethered to them, not because you're unable to move on, but because there's a knowing that the full potential of what you can share has not yet been realized. This longing doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like an invitation. It is a pull towards something greater, a force that keeps you moving forward, even when it feels easier to walk away. It's the kind of yearning that speaks to the heart's deeper wisdom, reminding you that some connections are not easily severed because they are meant to grow, evolve, and transform in ways that take time to manifest. In a relationship that has the potential for something meaningful, you may find that growth becomes a natural byproduct of your connection. This growth is not always comfortable or easy, but it is undeniable. It's the kind of growth that pushes you both to confront your own limitations, beliefs, and fears. It's not just about personal development in isolation, but a shared transformation that happens between the two of you, often in response to challenges and experiences you encounter together. When this type of growth happens, it feels as though the relationship is serving as a mirror, reflecting back to each of you the things you need to see in order to become better versions of yourself. This shared growth doesn't always come in grand, obvious moments, but rather in the quieter, more subtle shifts that occur over time. Perhaps you begin to see certain patterns in your behavior that you hadn't noticed before, ways in which you may have been holding back or allowing fear to control your actions. The relationship holds up a mirror to these aspects, helping you to recognize them and giving you the space to grow beyond them. It's in the moments of tension, when misunderstandings arise or you find yourselves at odds, that the true potential for growth often appears. These moments are opportunities to break through old patterns and learn how to communicate more effectively, how to be more compassionate, and how to let go of the ego that so often stands in the way of deeper connection. At the same time, you may notice that your partner is also evolving in response to the relationship. Their growth mirrors your own, often in ways you hadn't expected. Just as you are challenged to see parts of yourself that you would rather ignore, they too are being invited to step into a new version of themselves. This dynamic doesn't create a sense of competition, but rather a sense of collaboration. You are both growing together, and in the process, the relationship itself becomes a catalyst for positive change. The bond you share becomes a space for both of you to reach your fullest potential, individually and as a couple. As you support each other through the difficult yet rewarding process of transformation, this growth doesn't always happen in linear ways. There are setbacks, times when progress feels slow or even stagnant. But even in these moments, you may realize that the relationship is still serving its purpose, pushing you both to evolve, to keep moving forward, and to remain open to the possibilities of what can emerge when two people are committed to growing together. When you are in a relationship that holds true significance, you may come to realize that there is a rhythm to it, one that unfolds at its own pace, independent of your desires or expectations. In these moments, when it feels as though the relationship is not moving in the way you had imagined, it can be tempting to question whether you should let go and move on. Yet there is a deeper truth to recognize. Timing is not something you can control. Life, and relationships in particular, move according to their own natural flow, and sometimes the timing simply isn't right for a major shift to occur. In these times, you might begin to understand that the universe operates in mysterious ways, guiding you along a path that may not always align with your immediate desires. You may feel a subtle pull, an awareness that despite the doubts you might have, there is a larger design at work, one that is guiding both you and this person towards something greater, even if it isn't immediately clear. The relationship may require patience, more than you anticipated, and this waiting period can be uncomfortable, full of uncertainty. But in this waiting, there is also a deep trust. Trust that the connection you share is not something that can be rushed or forced. There is a natural unfolding that happens when both people are ready to step into the next chapter of the relationship. And sometimes that next chapter requires more time to grow into. This awareness of timing can also bring a sense of peace. Instead of pushing against the current, you begin to surrender to it, allowing the relationship to develop on its own terms. It becomes clear that not everything has to happen according to a specific plan, and that sometimes the most meaningful connections are the ones that take time to fully reveal themselves. In this space, you may realize that what feels like a delay is actually part of the unfolding process, that there is no need to rush toward a future that isn't yet meant for you. This timing is part of the journey, and in this moment of trust, you allow the relationship to grow in the way it is meant to, without forcing any outcome. The beauty of this trust in timing is that it frees you from the anxiety of trying to control everything. You begin to see the relationship as something that will reveal its next steps when the time is right, and that even if you can't see the full picture right now, every step is part of a larger unfolding story. You understand that everything has its time, and that patience, more than anything, is what allows the relationship to truly thrive. In the end, relationships are not just about moments of clarity or easy decisions. They are complex, evolving experiences that unfold in their own time and rhythm. When we are connected to someone in a way that goes beyond the surface, we are often asked to slow down, listen, and trust in the deeper forces at work. The signs that encourage us to stay, to nurture, and to explore what lies beneath the surface are subtle, but they are always present if we are open to receiving, whether it's through an unshakable connection, the peace that arises in shared growth, or the trust in timing. These signs remind us that some bonds are not meant to be rushed or abandoned. Instead, they are invitations to explore the fullness of our potential, both as individuals and as partners. Relationships that endure, that offer growth, and that bring us back together when we least expect it, are the ones that invite us to step into something deeper, more meaningful, and ultimately transformative. When we trust in these signs, we allow ourselves to move forward with a sense of patience, faith, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters in our connections with others.